Last summer, my boyfriend Miguel and I planned our very first camping trip as a couple. I was a lot more outdoorsy than him, so I was a little surprised when he suggested the trip. I was even more surprised when he bought all this expensive camping equipment for us to use. He seemed really excited about it. Everything was all set for the trip, but on the morning we were supposed to leave, we got into a really big argument. Miguel was upset that I had lunch with my ex-boyfriend Jacob. I didn't think it was a big deal because Jacob and I had dated a decade ago and we'd both moved on to other relationships. He forced me to promise never to see Jacob again. I told him he was overreacting. Things spiraled from there and I ended up storming off. In a fit of anger, I decided to go on the trip by myself. I took all of our camping stuff and left. Miguel kept calling me over and over, but I refused to answer. I listened to his messages and none of them were apologies. Instead, he kept begging me to come back. He made up some excuse that Jacob was dangerous, but I knew that he was only trying to justify himself. Eventually, I got to the campgrounds, unloaded my stuff, and pitched my tent. As I sat there alone, I started to have regrets. Even though I knew Miguel was being pig-headed, I still missed him. Deep down, I didn't want to camp alone. As I set up a campfire, I saw that Miguel had left one more voice message. I listened to it. Miguel finally apologized for shouting at me. He said that he was going to drive over and meet me in the campgrounds, but his tires were slashed. He wasn't sure, but he thought that Jacob had done it. He said he was worried for my safety and begged me to come home. For the first time, I felt scared. I didn't think my ex would do something like that, but Miguel sounded so serious. And if Jacob hadn't slashed his tires, then who did? The woods were really dark and quiet. I couldn't stay here anymore. I put out the fire and started packing up all my stuff. Just as I disassembled my tent, someone walked out of the darkness. It was Jacob. "What are you doing here?" I asked. He said that he was here to protect me. I didn't trust him. I knew he slashed my boyfriend's tires. He stepped forward, reaching his hands out. He acted like he wanted to comfort me. Without thinking, I punched him in the face and ran off. I left all my stuff behind. I could hear his footsteps as he ran after me, so I sped up. I ran so fast through the dark forest that I got hopelessly lost. I thought I was running back to the parking lot, but I ended up all turned around. Behind me, Jacob kept screaming for me to stop. I couldn't see him, but I knew that he was close. I had to keep going. Somehow, I made it back to the parking lot. As soon as I saw my car, I felt relief wash over me. I ran to the door and reached into my pocket for the keys, but I didn't have them. I'd left them back at the campsite. By then, Jacob had reached me. His expression was blank. "What do you want?" I screamed. Before he could explain, another car pulled into the parking lot. I didn't recognize the car, but I recognized the person in the driver's seat. It was Miguel. "Get in!" he shouted. While Jacob screamed for me to stop, I raced around the car and got inside. Even though I was trembling, I buckled my seatbelt and we drove off. Jacob frantically waved at us from the parking lot, but I couldn't hear what he was saying. We drove in silence for a long time. I noticed that the car was filled with empty fast food bags and there was a car seat in the back. Clearly, this wasn't a rental. Had Miguel stolen it in his hurry to rescue me? "What's going on?" I finally asked him. He kept his eyes on the road. "Jacob was right," he muttered. "He was trying to protect you." Miguel explained that he had planned to kill me during our camping trip and make it seem like an accident. Somehow Jacob had found out and tried to stop him. "You should have listened to him." "But why?" I asked. "I thought we were happy." He didn't answer. I reached for the door handle, ready to jump out of the car, but Miguel sped up. He was barreling through the forest road, and if I jumped out, I'd probably die. I was trapped. Headlights shined behind us. A truck was following us, getting closer and closer. Miguel sped up even more. I looked through the back window. I wasn't sure, but it looked like Jacob was in the truck. He was still trying to save me. He just won't stop, will he? The truck was insanely fast. It got right behind us. Jacob honked the horn. "Pull over," I told Miguel. That just made him drive even faster. My whole body shook as the truck rammed into us. Miguel gripped the steering wheel tightly. but he was losing control. Our car started to careen off the road. We were about to crash into a tree. In the split second that it took to skid off the road, I reached toward Miguel's side and pressed his seatbelt button, releasing it. Then we crashed. My seatbelt held me in place and the airbag slammed into me. Pain shot through my whole body. I think my ribs were broken. When I pushed the airbag away, I didn't see Miguel in the driver's seat. Without his seatbelt to protect him, his body had flown through the windshield and smacked against the tree. I could see his bloody, twisted body through the broken windshield. He was dead. Jacob appeared at the window next to me. He struggled to open the door and pull me out of the wreckage. "Thank you," I muttered, and then I passed out from the pain. To this day, I still don't know why Miguel wanted to kill me. I guess I'll never know. Jacob and I are still friends. I owe him my life. We're not dating yet, but there's a definite connection between us. He's a good guy, but after Miguel, I'm still not ready to trust anyone.